What do you think of when you think of the Cliffs of Moher? Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing another layout for the Cliffs of Moher because we have so many pictures from there. It's just gorgeous. And though I could have done a peekaboo waterfall with all of them, I decided no, I wanted to do some individual layouts with these pictures. I did do some enlargements and I just wanted to make them shine. So today we're going to do the July virtual crop layout number 4. And I'm going to show you how to use a couple of our water punches, most specifically the most recent one with the bubbles. We're going to use that, and we're going to use another one from, I think it was probably from last year, that is the Whitecapped Waves border punch. And we're going to use some vellum. We're going to have lots of fun today. So let's check out my workspace and we'll get started. All right, so this is my workspace for today. When the virtual crop sketches came out for July, I got really excited when I saw this one because I knew that I had the Cliffs of Moher coming up and that there were going to be several layouts involved in that, the series of pictures that we took at the Cliffs of Moher. And so this one just really spoke to me and I just got excited. So I'm hoping it's going to turn out looking really cool. When we are done, we'll see how it turns out. But I'm hopeful, and I am looking forward to seeing how it works. All right, so today, as I mentioned, we are going to work on sketch number 4 from the July virtual crop, which is this one right here. And there are several different layers to this one, but they are in kind of in a border style, so we can handle that. That's not too hard, right? So I have, once again, my my Copper Canyon papers out here that I selected, but I also got out a couple of pieces of vellum because whenever I'm dealing with water, I just really like the way vellum looks and the kind of clarity sort of that it gives you, the illusion of that it gives you. I pulled 2 punches out as well, and this is our new bubble one, bubble scallop. I always have to look to make sure I'm not leading you down, the wrong path with the name, but this is bubble scallop. This is brand new, and a super fun new punch. And this one this one is fairly recent, maybe from last summer, I'm not really sure, but this one is called Whitecapped Waves, and this one's going to work really nicely for what we are going to do today as well. So let's talk about adhesive. I have permanent and repositionable adhesive out. I also have vellum adhesive out. If you've never used the CM vellum adhesive, I highly recommend it. It is wonderful for helping you hide your adhesive. If you've ever used adhesive with vellum before, you know that can be a difficult challenge to hide your adhesive. So I'll show you what to do with this if you've never used vellum adhesive before from CM. All right, so I have this piece of vellum and I have this piece of vellum, and we're going to use both of those, but we also have these 3 pieces from Copper Canyon. I love the way this one looks like foaming water. It just makes me happy. And the back is a wood grain, which is lovely. I love wood grain, but right now we are going to focus on the water side because it's just so pretty. The base sheets we're going to use are these 2, and originally I was going to use the brown side because I just thought that, Cliffs of Moher have a lot of rock, and I just thought maybe the brown side would be good. But the more I've looked at the photos, the more I've decided that we need to use this side. So I'm hoping that it doesn't detract too much from what we are from the photos that we are putting on here, but I think it's going to enhance them actually. So we're going to use this side with all of these blues. It's going to be a lot of blue, but hopefully the photos will help tone the blue, you know, hold the blue at bay. So I'm going to set these to the side. We are also probably going to be using a little bit of white cardstock, either to mat our photos or to, or possibly in a couple of other little areas. So we'll see how that one goes. Okay, so let's get started. We are going to start by cutting a couple of pieces of this beautiful paper right here. I'm going to grab my trimmer and we are going to cut 2 different pieces. Now, it may look like the field down here and the field up here are the same, but actually this one says it's 2 inches and this one up here says it's 3 inches. And I think that's because these borders are layered on top of this base paper, whereas down here the base paper is below it and they are layered on top of the paper above. So we are going to do the same thing. We're going to cut a 2-inch piece and we're going to cut a 3-inch piece. And we're going to use those appropriately. So we're going to do 2 and 3 out of this kind of foamy looking water paper. I just love it. I think it just looks so refreshing and cool. And it actually, I don't know if it's even really meant to be water, but it looks like water to me. So we're going with it, right? Okay, so we've got those 2 pieces. Now I'm going to punch a couple pieces here and we'll get back to our trimmer in a minute. So I'm going to punch this one. This is a chain punch. Now the reason the reason we know this is a chain punch is because if you flip it over and you look on the back here, you can see that the design does not flow all the way into the punch. If the design flows all the way into the punch, like this one, then you know this one does not separate from the paper. You have to trim it if you want to separate it. This one will separate on its own. So we call this a chain punch and we call this an edge punch. Okay, and there is a difference. So that's why I'm trying to point it out to you. Now I'm going to take my vellum paper and I'm going to punch it through this Whitecapped Waves punch because we want some waves. There definitely were a lot of waves at the Cliffs of Moher, but we were so far away that we didn't really, you know, feel the sea spray or anything like that. We could smell it, but we couldn't necessarily feel it. Sometimes you can feel it, you know, on your face and it's just really refreshing or chilly. We didn't have that. So that's okay though. We are going to still have our white-capped waves. Now, isn't that pretty? That's just pretty right on its own, isn't it? Just lovely. We're going to do another one so that we have 2 of them. So I'm going to turn this around because, believe it or not, there's a little notch right in here that is used to help us as we are feeding our paper through. I wasn't doing very well at using it though. I'll try to do better. So when you punch, see this little notch right here? When you feed your paper through, that little notch appears, and when it appears, that's when you know to line up your design and punch again, okay? So we're going to feed this through till we see the notch. There's the notch. We're going to punch again, feed it through till we see the notch. On repetitive designs like this, it is helpful to have that little notch there because then you know when to expect to have to punch again, and you're not constantly going back and forth trying to figure it out. All right, so we've got 2 of our waves, and I am going to remove the top bits and the bottom bits of that, and I'm going to leave these little middle pieces. These middle pieces are just really cool. They sort of remind me of shark's teeth, and not that we are dealing with sharks in our layouts today, but you know, you never know what we might want to do. So we're just going to save those and see what happens. All right, so now we are done with the Whitecapped waves, so we're going to close that up and put it over there. I'm going to use this other paper here that kind of reminds me of a chlorinated pool, and we're going to punch some of these, what I call bubbles. Now, they're not called, they're not just bubbles. This is a bubble with a scallop, and the reason that they call it that is, I'm sure, just to differentiate it from other bubble punches that we've had, but this does resemble a scallop around the outside of the bubbles, so that's kind of cool and nice, and it enables us to differentiate this punch from another punch. So you can see how this one is an edge punch, right? Because it does not separate, whereas that one did, because that's a chain and this is an edge punch. So we're just going to go through and punch and slide our way across. And then we're going to turn it around. We're going to do the same thing across the other side. And now I'm going to scoop my bubbles over here. We might need them, I don't know. And if we don't use them in this layout, we could use them in a card or something like that. That would be super fun to add to a window. So now I'm going to take this and we are going to punch, let's see, I'm going to play with this for a minute so I know where I want to trim it. All right. So I think this one is going to need to be trimmed about 1.5 inches. So we're going to trim one of them off at 1.5 inches. Okay, so there's one. And the other one we might do at 1.5 also. But we can, this shows us seeing it a little bit more. So let's do 1 and, I'm actually going to do about 2 inches on this one. And then if we want to trim it, we can trim it down. Okay, so that one is the taller of the two. We are going to go with that. Let's just adhere these together. I think that would be good. Okay, I'm going to use this by putting it on the one side of the vellum and then adding the other. Then we'll burnish it in. When you go to break this apart, it's not like our dots or our lines. This one is kind of a solid piece of adhesive, so you really have to give it a twist to break it off as you pull it from the paper. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a big string of adhesive, and you don't necessarily want that, okay? So we're going to do several different spots of this. Just little spots. You don't need a lot. Just like maybe 1/4 of an inch of adhesive. Okay. One at each end, and then every couple of inches. All right, and then I'm going to take my white-capped waves, and we are going to add those. Ooh, my adhesive is too high. How come I did that? Okay, I'm going to flip this over, and we're going to do this a different way. I'm going to add my adhesive to the back of my waves, which would have been the smart thing to do probably the first time around, but I was kind of hoping that it would work the other way, because it's harder to attach just an itty bitty bit of adhesive, but I can get it. All right. So now I'm going to place this so that so the bottom of this is going roughly right in the middle of this wave right here, okay? And we're going to go all the way across with it right in the center of that wave. All right, now, I'm not sure what happened to my boning tool. So we're going to just use this, and we're going to, when you burnish in your adhesive, that means that you are rubbing it down. So I'm going to rub down every few inches of this, and we'll probably need to do it again when we add it to our main page. But by doing that, the adhesive that you might have seen through the vellum just disappears, which is lovely, okay? So you can still see it on the back, but it's not noticeable on the front. Now, with a dark vellum like this dark blue, it is really a lot more difficult to see the adhesive, for sure. So, yeah. Anyway, so then we're going to come over here to this, and we've already got adhesive on the back in a couple different places, so not worried about that. I'm going to come in here and place this right across the bottom of my paper. This is the 3 by 12 inch piece of cardstock. Trying to make it level so it's straight. And we're just going to push that down and hope that it's as straight as possible. Not bad, but it looks maybe a little tiny bit off, but I think it's pretty close. Okay, so I'm just going to come back in here and give it a general rub down. Kind of wish I had my boning tool. I don't know where it walked off to, because that would be easier than this little tiny tip, but that's okay. We can make it work. Okay, there we go. Now the bubbles disappear quite easily on this, so what I was thinking was maybe we might need to punch that out of some white and layer it a little bit. So let me grab my bubbles, and this is just a cover sheet for Serene Waters vellum. that I pulled out just recently, and it's a little shiny. So I thought, well, water is wet, wet is shiny. So we're going to use this to punch a row and maybe 2 rows of bubbles and see if that helps to enhance the wateriness of everything. Same here. All right. Okay, we're just for now, we're just going to keep those up there just in case we need them. Okay. All right. I just did the poolside project recipe not too long ago, if you saw that on my channel. And I loved how they used the bubbles. I just thought that was really fun to add the bubbles back to the layout. So I don't know if I will do that today, but we'll see. Maybe. So cutting those at the 2 different lengths. And let's see. So this one is the longer of the 2. No, that one's the longer of the 2. So this one actually doesn't even go up here. Gosh, I got the cart way before the horse today. All right, so we'll just peel that off. Let's grab this white. And I don't want to put this, oh, this is flipped. My bubbles are flipped because, remember, I flipped my vellum over because I put my adhesive on the wrong side, or a different side. So let's just try that. That's kind of interesting. Not really what I had intended, but it is kind of interesting. So what I had intended was, and again, this is going to go up here, right about there on the layout. So we've got that as a possibility, but then what I had intended to do was this. I was going to just shadow the bubbles a little. And then these waves would go in front. Something like that. Do we have a preference? I think this one's going to stay this way because of my adhesive issue. But I could do this one differently. It's going to go up on top. This will go behind it. So like that. I think I'm going to do them both differently. I think that would be fun. Just for the heck of it. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to get our vellum adhesive, put some on this piece. This piece is going to go just a little bit below all the others. Just like that. We could burnish in that adhesive if we wanted. Okay, then we're going to add our adhesive to the back of the blue. And just a quick note, it's really obvious on this dark blue. It's not so obvious on the other piece of vellum that we're using, but just so that you are reminded, vellum does have a right or a wrong side, just like fabric. If you're sewing, fabric has a right and a wrong side. So does vellum. So if you are using a darker, it really is more obvious when you use a darker color. That's why I'm mentioning it now. So when you use a darker colored vellum, just be mindful of the fact that you need to use the correct side of the vellum up. Otherwise, it will be a very subdued color. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and add this to our the base of our border. We want to make sure that's as straight as we can make it. Okay, well, I like that. I think that looks really nice. Okay, and this one is going to go on the top. So we're going to wait until we adhere the paper to our base. Okay, so let's get the bases and we will get to work on that. So these papers are exactly the same, but you can make them look different simply by turning one of them, and or you can turn both of them. But by turning them, then you highlight the differences in the paper, and they're more noticeable, which is a nice thing to do. It adds variety to your layout, which is always a nice thing. All right. So we're going to go ahead and add adhesive to this wider one. This is the 3-inch one. And this one is going to go right against the edges, top and sides of our base paper. Okay, so just like so. Then we're going to take this one and we are going to get our water paper. This one's going to go first. And it's going to go, sorry, I have a lot on my desk right now. It's kind of driving me a little crazy. All right, so we're going to add this to the bottom edge, right on the edge of your page or your paper. And then this border will go on top. And you could add a little repositionable adhesive to the bubbles themselves if you were concerned about it staying where you need it to stay. Okay, and then we're gonna add this, and you can feel the little ledge that you've built along the back with where your other papers have been kind of building up. So that's the edge that I put right up against the edge of this. Okay, so it makes it fairly easy to make it straight. Okay, so there is our basic page. Now the sketch actually has, you can see this sort of beaded edge right here. It has what maybe was a sticker or something like that that kind of went along this edge where things come together. But because we used this punch, it sort of finishes that edge off for you, so you don't need to worry about that being an issue, which I really like. So Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our photos, and some of our photos we're going to matte, and others we are not going to matte. So let's just lay these out and we will kind of decide how we want to do that. So remember, a lot of my photos are digital, so they are not the traditional 4x6. I have them printed in 4x5 1/4 because I just like the proportions that it gives the photos better. And so we have a little more room to play with mats and things like that because of that. So we can take this paper that we used to punch our white parts, and we can frame out these, maybe frame the pictures of the cliffs, or we can frame the pictures of the people. I don't know exactly. Let's just see. Let's do the cliffs. Those need to stand out. So we're gonna add those on here. I'm not going to do a huge border, but just a small one is enough, I think, because that white really draws your eye. So we don't need a lot of it. We just need just a little. All right. I don't actually know if we'll have enough to do anymore. I might have to pull a different kind of white in order to do any other photos. All right. I especially like this one with the sun in the sky. Really lovely. So we really can't do too much wider anyway because these are nearly hitting each other as it is. So what we could do is move one over here. So you don't need as much room. That's a possibility. I feel like we need one of these to be matted on this side. Whoa. We almost have enough. Not quite though. Okay, let me see if I can find a little bit whiter piece of bright white maybe. All right, so if you've ever wondered what the difference is between the CM white and the CM bright white, there really isn't a huge difference between the two, but there are times when bright white is just really nice, and somehow it really is brighter than the other one. I can't explain it, but it really is brighter. And that can be lovely sometimes too. All right, so we're gonna do that one. And we're gonna do, let's do this one of my husband and I. And we'll reorder those photos on that side as well. just to make it all work a little bit better. Why my trimmer is acting up a little bit. I just flipped my strips, so it can't be that I have a bad strip. Maybe I need a new blade. That is entirely possible. All right. All right, so alignment is going to be tricky with the addition of some of them being matted and some of them not, which is probably why Tammy went ahead and matted all of her photos on there. We could do that. We could just matte all of them. That wouldn't be hard to do. Let's see. More. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and get these put down, adhered, and then we'll talk embellishments real quick. All right, so there is everything except some embellishing. So let's take a look at this. So I found these kind of tag-like embellishments. These are in the package with the frames. So if you have these, then that's where you'll find them. Making this day count, loving this moment, life is full of wonderful adventures. So I'm kind of liking several of these, but I think maybe these two kind of apply more. I don't know, making this day count. Life is full of wonderful adventures. This kind of pulls in some colors that are not on this page. So I don't know if we want to do that or not. But it's pretty. Let's see. We can do our sunset. Stargazer kind of thing. In this day count here and now. I think that's what I'm going to do, and maybe we could add just a few of these little white bubbles kind of around, just for kicks and giggles. What do you think? So this one I'm going to place kind of over that photo on purpose to just kind of draw those in. We're going to add that guy right there with a little heart. We had so many pictures of the cliffs. And of course, we love them all because they all have kind of their own, they all tell their own story kind of. So I know it's hard to see the same thing over and over again, but it makes sense to me that we would have several pages devoted to this particular activity because of the fact that they're just so majestic, and we had so many photos to try to weed through and sift out what we liked the best, which was not an easy task by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, so I'm going to use my precision point adhesive, and we're going to just add a couple of bubbles. Bubbles, 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 bubbles. And get my lifter stick, and we'll add just a couple more bubbles. Lifter sticks are awesome. They don't like to give up. When they lift something, they don't like to give it up. Have you noticed that? Do you have one of these? Thought I put a bubble there or some glue there. Maybe it's back there instead. We'll add a couple of bubbles down here too, just because. So glad that they created this new bubble punch because I have a punch from years ago that is a border maker cartridge that makes all these different size little circles. And I have used it for so many things. And, the least of which has been bubbles, or the purpose of the punch. I mainly have just used it to make little tiny circles for one reason or another. To make noses for reindeer or, different things. Or eyes. Makes great pupils for eyes, that kind of stuff. So let me know what you think. I think I'm done messing with this. This is going to be it for this particular layout. And any journaling that I do will probably go down here. And a title will probably go right up here. So that's what I would expect anyway. So let me know what you think. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope this has been fun. I hope this has given you some ideas of ways that you can represent water. I had planned on doing a 101.5 lesson on ways that you can create water on your page, but I think this will suffice for this time around. If you think you would like a 101.5 lesson just on creating water on your page, let me know, and I will try to address that. But I think I've done it a couple times now, so hopefully that's helpful to you. Thanks again for joining me. Until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. Enjoy your day.